Welcome back to Empower Indie Podcast. This podcast creates space for honest conversations about health, well-being, and community resources to help people in southwestern North Dakota live healthy, full lives. The Empower Indie Podcast is produced by Women Empowering Women, a nonprofit organization dedicated to connecting, supporting, and educating women to help them become the best versions of themselves. To become a member or learn more, visit wewnetwork.org. Welcome to the Empower Indie Podcast. Today we're talking about inclusion, strength, and the importance of support for families and kids of all abilities. Our guests will share about adaptive weight training and how respite care can become a healthy, regular part of family life. Let's dive in. So, can you share a bit about who you guys are and what your role in Ben's life is, and a little bit about him so listeners can get to know him?
I'm Rachel Melvin. I'm Ben's mom. And Ben is just a really fun, a little bit quirky, stubborn, but such a lovable guy.
I'm Cody Chapel. I'm Ben's best friend, and I also am his coach. We do adaptive training and powerlifting with Ben, and I also do respite care for Ben and his family.
Okay, so when you first started working with Ben, Cody, what were you focused on?
Really just making him feel comfortable. The first thing is just building trust with him and letting him know that we have goals and we're there to work, but we're also there to have fun. And once we establish that kind of relationship and stuff, then we're able to kind of push through the hard times and really affect change in the way he moves and the way his body functions, but also in like the way he relates with the gym atmosphere and the people around him and that kind of stuff. So really just the first couple weeks is just building that relationship and finding out what he likes and what he doesn't like and that kind of stuff.
What do you guys do in the gym? Just so that listeners know kind of what you're working on.
So right now, Ben is competing in a competition that's coming up in March. And so we are focusing pretty much on squat, bench, and deadlift. Ben's got a couple things that he likes to do in the gym, like throw the medicine ball and stuff like that, that we will kind of work into those things. But right now we're just really focused on, one, learning the commands and the rules of the lifts so that Ben feels comfortable when he's on the platform. And then two, on kind of building his numbers up.
Have you seen training improve Ben's life?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, it's given him confidence. It's given him his own thing. I think the older our kids get with special needs, the harder it is for them to see their siblings go off and do sports and, have friends over. And that doesn't happen as naturally and this is Ben's thing. Like, Ben knows he's going to go work out with Cody and it's his thing. And I think that's so important for him, just to feel like, hey, I've got my thing, you've got your thing. And it makes him feel included.
I feel like it was also a gateway for him into other activities and team activities, because when we first started working together, he didn't have a ton of interest in that stuff. And then later on, since then, he's done the what do they call it? The football, inclusive sports football, and he's done some basketball stuff. And so I think it's him developing that like desire to work out and to be in the gym and stuff has led to him feeling comfortable doing, or at least trying, those other things too. So.
Yeah, I think even like from my perspective of Ben being around my kids and stuff too, just being able to see how he's progressed to when he first was around them to how he is now with them, and being able to interact with them and them really enjoying the time that they get to spend with them.
Part of that is them being good kids and like them welcoming him and being polite and courteous to him and making him part of the group too, because he's kind of standoffish with new people for a minute until he realizes that you're on his team, and then he'll love you forever after that.
With him coming to the gym and working with you, and how have you seen that impact his day-to-day independence and ability to manage tasks at home and school?
Well, Ben is very stubborn, and I think Ben knows how to do so many things, and he remembers everything, but he's very selective on when he chooses to show you that he remembers and knows how to do things. So I don't know. It's hard with him. He's just a tough egg as far as that's concerned. I think by him learning the commands and the different, routines that him and Cody have established, it has helped him progress in doing 1, 2, 3 and step chores. Like first you have to load the dishes, and then you have to put the
Right.
soap in, and then, I think just having that routine really has helped.
From my perspective, the thing that I've seen him change the most in is being able to be redirected. So when I first started working with him, sometimes it would be like he would be off task or not want to do something, and it would take an entire session to get him back on task or get him to do that one activity. And now it'll take 1 or 2 redirects, and then he's back into it. Like he'll be stubborn with you, but he'll eventually get up and do it instead of taking the whole session. Or I think when we first started working together, he would take, like, if he didn't like something, he would take a long bathroom break.
Oh yeah, several.
Like he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that anymore. So I think he's going to be stubborn because that's who he is. But once you like let him know it's serious and you're there with him and we need to get this done, then he'll do it.
So weight training may not be for every child, but how can families find spaces where their child can participate, feel included, and have a sense of purpose? Was that something that was hard for you to find for Ben?
Until Cody, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think Cody takes each person's special needs or not and looks at the person and their goals and the whole picture and tries to find their strength and what they're good at and encourages them. And I think for Ben and, all the special needs clients he has, it's huge. It's such a confidence builder. I mean, he really makes them feel like they're important and they belong at the gym. And it's just such a huge blessing.
I'm going to kind of disagree with the premise of the statement. I think that weight training is for everyone. I think you just have to adapt the weight training to the person instead of expecting the person to adapt to whatever's considered normal. I've never met a person that I couldn't get in the gym and find something for them to do in the gym that makes them feel successful and helps them and builds them up. And it might not just be like a physical thing. It might just be building confidence or something like that.
So for coaches and activity organizers, what are some practical ways to make activities more inclusive so people with disabilities can be part of the experience and feel successful?
Check your ego and manage your expectations. If you have this grand plan for someone when they come in and you've written out this big workout and they walk in the door and they just will not lay down on the bench press that day, like a lot of coaches and trainers and stuff, they wouldn't know how to respond to that. And you just have to, like, you can still plan ahead, but what I like to do is I like to plan the content we need to fill in a month or the next 3 months. And then whatever I can get Ben or whoever else I'm working with to do that day, I'll try to pull from that content that I've been planning for that time period. And then sometimes if I find something that's really working and going really well, then I'll just stick with that for a couple of weeks or a while until we've kind of plateaued on that, and then we'll move on to something different.
Well, I think I've watched you do a really good job of giving them choices too, of like, do you want to do this or this? And then they feel like they're guiding the
It's
the
funny that you
session.
did that with your hands because that's exactly how I give choices to Ben because he's more visual. So if you put a hand out and give him 2 options, then he'll touch the hand that he wants to do the option. So, yeah.
That's probably because I've watched you do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you share a moment when you saw Ben's confidence or social skills grow during training?
I can give a bunch, but confidence, he competed at a powerlifting comp about a year ago. Um, that comp wasn't 100% adaptive, so he just did bench press because Ben does have some issues with trusting balance and stuff like that. So some of the other lifts are a little harder unless you adapt to them. So he just did bench press, but he was so excited to compete, and he got up and had his arms in the air, and he's competed in a bench press contest that we did since then as well, and he just throws his arms up and he's super excited, and he loves people cheering for him and clapping for him, and so that's definitely been confidence. And then the cool thing about Aspire and the gym there is that everyone there is really welcoming and kind, and so Ben has made really good friends, and he's even some of like the more advanced lifters and adult lifters, like they know Ben and Ben knows them, and he walks up and gives them a high five or a hug, and just very social, and like that's he's to him he's just, and to us he's just one of the guys. He's just in there lifting with us, and everyone's very welcoming of him, and he lightens up the mood a lot and makes it a better atmosphere. So we like having him around.
Tell us, Rachel, kind of what it means for Ben to compete in something built with athletes like him in mind.
Well, it means the world because, as a parent, when you have a child, when they're a baby and you're like, what is their future going to look like? Are they going to be included? Will they have any of the opportunities that your typical kids have? And things like this just warm your heart because they are so included. And like Ben comes out and he's the champion. He's so excited.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it seem like he's just one of the typical kid just for a moment.
Kind of our next topic that we wanted to cover was respite as a routine. So can you kind of explain what respite care is?
So respite care is for any adult or child with a disability, and so you have a provider, and you pay them through a third party system, and it's for opportunities for parents to have some time away when it's much needed. I mean, when our kids are young, it's easier to find someone, depending on medical complexity and everything, to, babysit your kid. But the older they get, it's hard to do. And Cody, we asked Cody if he'd be interested in doing it, and he said yes. And it's just been such a blessing to us because we go to wrestling tournaments, they're 7-8 hours long, or we just need to get away for a couple days, or, just, run to an appointment, and Ben doesn't always want to go. And sometimes it's not the right environment for Ben. It's going to send him into a tailspin because it's out of his routine. So it's very, very helpful.
So at what point did you realize that respite was needed to be part of your routine and not just something for emergencies?
Probably right away, because I'm like, wow, like I don't have to, because we don't have family here. I don't have to search for someone anymore. Like, if Cody's available, I can be able to plan things out, and we need a break. I mean, Ben is, a great kid, and he's not really medically complex, but he is stubborn, and he has a routine that needs to be followed pretty regimented, and sometimes it's just better for him and better for us to just be able to have him hang out with his best friend.
Why is it important for families to see respite as routine and necessary rather than optional?
I think that you get burnout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, having a special needs child is a lot. And if you don't take time to be with your other typical kids, or your husband or your wife, your partner, and just to take that time, I mean, it could be very, very hard on a relationship.
And that was the next question, was how does consistent respite prevent burnout?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it is a lot. I didn't realize how bad we needed it until we had it.
And do you see benefits for the whole family and not just for Ben?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because, you know, Ben is always really our focus as far as like, is Ben going to be okay with that? You know, how long is that going to be? Is he going to, you know, not be happy? And I think it allows the other kids to be like the focus. Like we don't have to worry
Right.
about it.
Even like something as like deciding the restaurant that you're going to go to. Like if Ben's going, you have to decide somewhere where like the 5 things he'll eat is being served there. Whereas if her youngest son Henry wants to go to a restaurant, me and Ben can maybe go do something different, and then they can take Henry to that restaurant.
Even a high top table. Ben won't sit at a high top table. So we have to pick a restaurant that we know that there's an option besides a high top table.
Bowling alley.
Yeah. Bowling alley. Loves that.
He loves the bowling alley.
Okay, so what would you say to a parent who feels guilty scheduling regular respite?
I would say at least give it a chance because, you know, you need it. You need it. I mean, you need it to just be, you know, mom to your typical kids or just be, you know, yourself. I mean, it's you forget like, oh, I'm, you know, Rachel Melvin. I'm more than just Ben's mom. So, you know, it's really helpful.
I also think it's important to look at how you approach it because, like, we, even from the beginning, have never really approached it as, like, me babysitting Ben or, like, taking Ben off their hands. It's more me and Ben plan something and we text each other, like, oh, do you want to go to breakfast there in the morning or do you want to do this? And then it's more of, like, he's not even thinking, like, oh, they're trying to get rid of me. He's like, I'm getting rid of them. I'm going to go
Yes.
do my own thing
Yeah.
with my
Yes.
friend and go hang out. So that then it's not something that's like negative or bad that the parent has to feel guilty about. They can be like, oh, my kid's going to go do something fun with someone, and then we get to sit and relax or get to do a project at the house or finish the basement trim or whatever, that kind of
Right.
stuff. So
And I think it's something just for parents to think of too is that he's a blessing to other people, you know?
Yeah, very true.
yep.
So even just like him coming to parties with our family and stuff, you know, he's a blessing to other people's lives too. So it's not necessarily that like you just need to be able to be away or have time. You need to just think of it as
You're
like,
sharing it with us.
you're sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So what practical advice would you give a family who is just starting to try respite or adaptive programs?
Adaptive programs, I would say just do research. Find, like, I'm obviously biased, but find someone who is like really in it to help the person they're working with and to really adapt and be there. Like I said earlier, check their ego because that's kind of the important part. If you have someone who's kind of stuck in their way, and for some trainers that really works for like neurotypical people and stuff, but when you're having to adapt all the time, like you can't have like a preconceived how the session's going to go. You kind of have to be really adaptive, I guess. But so to just kind of do your research and find the right fit and the right coach and the right person. And then for respite, I think it's kind of that same thing to just kind of, the cool thing with Ben and I is before we did respite, I was already training him. So we'd already developed a friendship and a bond and kind of knew our boundaries and our parameters. So then when we started doing things outside of the gym for respite, then it was more like organic and we kind of just already were friends and fit in. So to kind of let those relationships develop a little bit and kind of see what the best fit is.
And I think that probably is good advice for families too, of finding someone in their lives that already organically fits into the picture.
Yeah, that
You
was
know?
going to be. I mean, we are incredibly blessed to have Cody be his respite provider. And I'm going to be very honest, like the agency respite providers, there are very few and far between. And they basically are encouraging you to try to find your own respite provider and go through the process and get them cleared and onboarded
Right.
because it's very, very hard to use an agency. And even family members out that don't live with you can go through and become respite providers.
Because it still gives the people in the house
Absolutely.
a
Yes.
chance
Yes.
and the person to
Yes.
to have a different
I mean,
experience.
it just makes,
Yeah.
I'm very like a nervous parent, like, is Ben okay? Ben's overnight in Bismarck with peer to peer tonight. And I trust all of them, but still, it's like, oh, do they know that he likes this and that? And, with Cody, Cody knows. He knows everything there is to know about Ben.
So, Cody, what has been being in your life done to impact you as a coach and personally? No tears.
That's what I thought about that.
Yeah. I mean, you're my sister, so you're not gonna like that I say this, but he probably is the single biggest impact of any person in my entire the history of my life.
Whoa. Just kidding.
You're very impactful in my life, but and so are your kids. But Ben is we call him my best friend, and we say best friend and stuff, but he really is my best friend. When I'm looking for movies and I see a new movie that's coming out and stuff, I immediately am like, oh, is Ben gonna like that? Is that one we can go see? No? Okay, what is coming out that Ben's gonna like? So I do, he has had a huge impact on my life in very, very positive ways. And then I think he's made me a better coach just from the experience with working with him. And we've mentioned that he's kind of stubborn. It's allowed me to learn how to find ways to get him to want to do what we're doing and want to be involved and stuff like that, which I've definitely used for other athletes since I started coaching them too. So,
what would you both hope that other families take away from this conversation?
That if you find the right people and the right resources, anyone with any sort of disability or special need can do anything that they want to do. If they want, like I said earlier, anyone can lift, but I think anyone can do pretty much anything. You can get, as long as you're willing to adapt and change and not kind of be stuck with what you think the norm's supposed to be, you can help them be successful in anything that they want to be successful in, or help them find things they didn't know they wanted to be successful in. So,
I would just encourage every parent to, seek out the resources that are available to you, and try to. The older your children get, you need to seek out a respite provider and things for our older children to do and our young adults, because time marches on, and the kids that are their age, they go off and they become adults and families, and it's a bittersweet thing, because Ben will forever be young, so to speak, and I think it's important to have adults that really care about him in his life and want to spend time with him. I think it benefits our family, it benefits him, it benefits Cody. Cody is part of our family.
And and as Crystal said, it's benefited my family as well.
Yeah, Ben's part of our family.
Yeah.
So.
Crystal's talked about the impact of him coming over to her house, but one of his favorite places to go is my mom and my other sister Cassie's house. Mm-hmm. He's always talking about Cassie, and I'll be like, oh, you're going to go to breakfast, and he'll be like, Cassie and Mom? So he's made a huge impact on our family and as well. So,
all right. So thank you for sharing your time, insight, and expertise with us today. If there was anything that someone listening wants to make their programs more inclusive or start using Respite, what's one concrete step they could take tomorrow? Just kind of in closing, something that you could suggest that they would definitely make progress if they started tomorrow.
If you don't have a caseworker for your child, you need to get one. I resisted for a very long time, and now that I have, and we have a great caseworker now, Dakota, she's really, really helped us and lined things up for us.
I mean, I'll just go from the perspective of like a coach, and I've kind of harped on this a little bit, but just be willing to adapt and to change and not expect things of the people you're working with other than expecting them to have fun and to try. Other than that, like, you don't having expectations and then trying to hold them to that can kind of tie your hands a little bit as a coach with adaptive needs.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you to our listeners for spending this time with us and being part of these important conversations. This episode was made possible by a small, innovative grant through the North Dakota State Council of Developmental Disabilities. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and we'll see you on the next Empower ND podcast.